It was a great time to be alive.
It was a graveyard of careers and probably mental health.
Matt Jordan.
Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to my podcast.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Who are you? What do you do?
Well,
what's the story?
You've already said my name, so I won't cover that twice. But I do as little as humanly possible. Really, which I think is everyone's end goal for the most part, unless they're some kind of David Goggins enthusiast. But currently I'm running a podcast studio for hire.
What's that called?
Pod Studios Limited, which is not really off the ground just yet. It's live, but we haven't got our website. We haven't really started advertising, but all the hardware and it's ready to rock and roll.
Okay.
And I stream every now and again, do live streaming of gambling and things like that, which is another space that's kind of probably in the microscope a little bit, depending on how people are doing it, which is another, probably ethically and morally questionable behaviour, but there's ways to do it probably more ethically
than the way you do it, or just
no. I do it in a. I'm certainly no saint, but there's some very bad practices out there, predatory practices.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the IRD would be quite closely looking at that.
Well, they are, because gambling winnings is not, unless it's like your whole job, which again, it's pretty hard to kind of for them to tax you on gambling winnings, but you're not supposed to get taxed on gambling winnings, because if you won the lotto, you don't get taxed, whatever. Yeah. In the States you do. But there's guys who are it's not gambling winnings, getting people to sign up with an affiliate code, and then they get a percentage of that person's loss, which the person doesn't know that. That's to their followers and their people go, hey, sign up, you'll get a free spin. So you're getting
a rebate on their spend, essentially.
On their loss. We
know that model quite well.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's where you're at. But, it's a very flooded space now, but I've been involved in that kind of industry for 5-6 years maybe.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in front of the camera, but kind of in the communities and being a viewer and, so I've been on both sides of the fence. But, that's what I'm up to at the moment. And always looking for new things to kind of things that, interest me and everything. But the podcast studio at the moment, me and another guy who's involved in streaming, or two other guys, Tim Nacky and his offsider Rob, Techman Rob. So the three of us are kind of doing that because we wanted to do our own podcast. And then I was like, well,
you're not going to build a whole facility just for yourself.
Yeah, well, I wanted to do that anyway because I wanted to I'm saving for a commercial property, and I was like, well, how can I make money off it if we, and I was like, well, people always want studio space.
Totally.
And so that's where it's at. I didn't buy the property we're in. We're leasing it actually off a dude that we kind of somewhat know, but I just didn't want to muddy the waters with owning the building that we own a business and, pissing in each other's pockets and causing a rift. But, it's a kind of – I know that they exist, these businesses, but it's not like there's
nothing on the shore, mate. It's all like Kingsland, Ponsonby.
Yeah, there's not like a blueprint, and they're not widespread. With Tim's reach and everything, it's a double-edged sword because it's tire kicker central when you go, you put it out, hey, man, we're running this thing, and everyone wants to,
just want to come and hang out with you.
They want to meet
stuff.
Tim and or whatever, and you're like, no, like, but we've pretty much got it to the point where it's a setup where you come in with your external hard drive, you plug it into a USB-C, you press record, you sit down and go, and then you...
So you guys, Rob engineers it all and everything as well,
Yeah, he's an industrial Sparky.
Yeah, because I met him that's right. That time,
Thrilling stuff. Yeah.
He's a laugher, man.
Yeah, well, he's an industrial Sparky.
Yeah, they're always crack up.
He's a trainer at, Ecole at the...
Echo.
He did all the, all that kind of like night classes. He used to teach all that.
He had some great jokes about loop impedance, mate.
Yeah, well.
Knee slappers.
Yeah, well, I asked about his animals quite frequently, and he always starts making Cat 5, Cat 6 jokes.
And you just...
Yeah, I can't wait till there's Cat 9 or something and it's Cat S9 Lives or something to that effect. But, it's all data cable.
Yeah, they get pretty horny over it.
Yeah, well, you got to have your passions, and I'm glad he's passionate about it.
There'll be some people listening now who are getting a bit spicy. In the undercarriage. Yeah. Pressing the emergency button.
Go large.
Whole bank's evacuated.
But to be honest, we need Rob's good because he's all business and he knows how to do shit where we don't know how to do. I can come up with great ideas. But he's like, yeah, that's not feasible.
Yeah,
you can't do that. So, you need someone who's got the technical know-how, and then, we all kind of add something to it. But yeah, it's just one of those things we're just about to kind of really go large with it, and then it's handy because it's close to my place. They both live in Taranaki, which Tim's moving to Canada actually, but I don't know if he'll commute or what there, but we'll work that out.
Yeah, okay.
We'll work it out in the wash. Okay. But yeah, that's what's happening at the moment.
Cool. And then going back, because obviously there's quite a lot before this. So,
yes.
Obviously at one point you had
road.
Yeah, you had for a lot of years you had regular 9-to-5s, as it were. And then it kind of kicked off with SPM, right?
Yeah, well, it's a weird chain of events that led to SPM, which was Shit Post Mondays, which is like an alcohol reviewing thing. And, working through the recession, obviously you and I both lost our jobs, and we both got a job in a hospitality business, which probably was one of the best and worst things to happen to two guys like us. Boisterous young guys getting sacked from the trades, going into the coalface as far as customer service. We had a lot of life lessons there, but everyone there was down and out.
Yeah, it was a great time to be alive.
It was a graveyard of careers and probably mental health, and everyone was in the same boat.
Shout out J Bones.
The tipper bucket himself. So lose my job, and then working there, I was obsessed with not losing my job again because it was fucking embarrassing.
Yeah,
and then we went through, and we all kind of, after a while, moved out of that place into our own careers. I went into automotive, and I didn't spend any money, and they had to pay me out because I had so many hours. They paid me out.
That's right, because you were doing 80-hour weeks. Well, so was I at one point, doing 80 hours on the regular there, right? Yeah,
I cracked 100 hours quite a few weeks in a row.
Yeah,
and we never took a day off ever. Like I would have rostered day off. So the one where I think it was 3 months in a row. Worked every public holiday, and then so because in 3.5 years I never took a holiday, so they had to pay me out $40-something thousand in holiday pay, and so I had that money. And then when I started again in automotive, somewhat, although I knew automotive, and then got the opportunity to buy a house miraculously through one reason or another, because of my dog.
And that was early on, eh?
Yeah.
You were, what, mid-20s?
I was 23, I think.
Yeah,
and so I bought that place, and then had no money, and once again was miserable. So started, you don't do anything the whole week. You're going to bed early for dinner.
Yeah.
And I was cleaning toilets as a second job as well. And then,
awesome.
It was great because it was at the only place I was working, so it was like my own friggin' truck and trailers anyway.
Yeah,
so it was just, it was insult to injury.
And working in a different environment every day, new and exciting places.
Yeah. So, I started. On the Monday, because I got paid on Tuesday, I was like, well, Monday was the worst day of the week anyway, because you've had probably a shit weekend anyway, and you're going into the last thing. The one thing I want to do on a Monday is get on the piss, but I've never had any money, so I'd buy the worst alcohol I could probably find, and then I started reviewing it on my own personal Facebook page for my own friends, and got encouraged. You should make a page about this.
I remember you did it, and because you were always such a bloody entertaining bugger anyway, just on a personal level, and we were like, you need to do something online or on socials, and you were a bit a little bit apprehensive or standoffish at first.
Yeah, well, you just, and it will come up later, but people can just take a snapshot of something and they think this is what's going on, or it's like a 30-second video or whatever, which did kind of happen. But you get used to the critics because after a while it's just you get some horrible messages, fucking kill yourself or shit like that, and you're like, I'm trying,
Yeah. It might be slow, but that's what I'm doing.
Give me a chance. Always underachieving, but and obviously that kind of went on for a bit, and it was entertaining for a couple of hundred people, and then I don't know, at some point it just went off.
So what was the first one that went viral, if you will?
Oh, the first one, hard to say. I remember there was one that got 2,000 views, and I thought that was massive.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, man. And then there was one that got like 50, 60,000. Trying to think what it was.
Because I remember the one where you, usual story, you hold, and then you just open the dish drawer.
Oh, yeah. I think that might have been Alizé or something when I chunned it in the dish drawer.
Yeah, and then just shut it again.
Powerball. Powerball. That one went off. I look at it now like how poorly they were video because it was all on a phone.
It was just iPhone in the kitchen, wasn't it?
Yeah. And you look at all the other people who were making content at the time. They had like proper cameras. I was like, shit. I was really phoning it in. I had no idea how bad poor, but it didn't seem to matter. But there was one of that, and probably the one where there was one where I chundered quite badly. And the chundering was always like, if I chundered, I did the whole video again. I'd film it again. Then after a while, I was like, there was one where I just like, man, I just can't fucking do that again. I just have to put that one up. It's a cock up, but whatever. I put it up, and then that one went gangbusters. I was like, oh,
this is what they want to see.
They want to see me power chunder.
Well, because I feel like you were ahead of your game. I think back in them days, like even if you take like Johnny Danger and stuff, they had a different idea for every video, whereas you picked something and just kept repeating it, but it was a different scenario every week, so it was like a TV show.
Well, yeah,
but everybody was watching for the hold, like, can he hold it this week,
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I got to the point because I can just spew anytime I want, as you well know, you've seen multiple times, unfortunately.
That's quite a talent.
So, people are like, oh, he can't hold his business. It's like, no, I'm literally just trying to go on purpose because people think it's funny. The spews get the views is what we coined the term.
Yeah.
So, and, it was one of those things like, man, it got a lot of traction. It got to the point where, I knew there were people in high places watching it, but they couldn't follow it.
Yeah.
They weren't allowed to follow it. There's people in certain changing rooms, and they're like, they're all watching it through like some burner account, and you get invited to stuff, but you can't take pictures with anyone because they can't be seen with you. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But then my brain the whole time, I'm like, where am I going with this? And for a long time, to be honest, I would just do stuff. I've always, once it got to a point where, I guess to some people I was a value to them to have them either on like a podcast or come to a party or something. Yeah. I think a lot of guys in that position start going, what are you going to pay me? Or on stuff like that, and I was like, nah, I don't give a fuck. I'll just do it. I'll just do it for free. Oh, can you MC this, or can you come do this, or whatever? I'm like, yeah, I'll just do it. And they're like, how much do you want? I was like, I'll just do it. And I did free promos, alcohol companies are like, oh, if we send you some product, can you do it? And then we'll pay. And I was like, just give me the stuff. I don't want any money. Just give me the product. Yeah. And whatever I say is whatever I say. You're not paying me to say anything.
Because then they've got no control over you, right? Essentially.
Yeah. But also I don't have any, if they're not happy with it, they can't.
There's no comeback.
It's like, we wanted a longer video, or we wanted. It's like, well, I didn't take any money off you, and also I'm not paying you. You can't pay me to say something that I don't want to say. Yeah. But it wasn't that. It's like, oh, we don't mind this guy because he just does it. And normally, I do, they'll be like, fuck, that was epic, because it's. And if it was for a good cause as well, anything that was raising money, you just do it. But the amount of times I just do stuff all the time, and I don't know whether intentionally or unintentionally, people go on podcast, I'll go on any podcast anyone asks me to do anything, I'll do it, whatever.
Obviously.
Yeah, I know. I mean, this is really scraping the barrel, but I just did everything for free, and then a lot of other guys in there are like, you're fucked, mate. You're doing that for free. And I'm like, I was like, oh, well, who cares? I sold a bit of merch and stuff. I was like, I wasn't making any money off it, but I was like, I'm not that money hungry that I need to charge someone $500.
Yeah.
Because then like it's kind of like you're taking away that part of that relationship that we
It's
rather
becoming transactional rather than an actual relationship. Right?
And then they know if I'm ringing them up or talking to them, it's not because I'm after anything, and same and vice versa. Like, you know,
it's genuine.
It's whatever. And like most of them, 99 times out of 100, their relationship has lasted longer than anything else, and you still talk to these people, and you know, like they're like, oh well, just that was way easier than like dealing with this guy or that guy.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I was doing that on purpose or not, to be honest.
But it built a network for you.
Yeah, it built a network, and then the biggest question is how do I pivot what I was doing, because it was non-sustainable.
Because just let me jump in there, because I remember a few conversations that we had, and I remember talking about it because everyone was watching it, but it was kind of untouchable for anything commercial or to do anything properly with at the time. It almost made it build a cult following. But then I remember you turning around and going, this is awesome, like it's blown up, but I've basically branded myself as a fuckwit on Facebook. Like, what do I do with this now?
Yeah. But also, like, you can imagine the type of people that watch it. There's, and it was a massive spectrum. Like, I'm talking guys in their 50s. I ran into a guy at a funeral the other day, and he didn't know that I was mates with the guy, but he was like, holy fuck. And this guy's probably like fucking 60. And he's like, I was showing you a video, like, I can't remember what the video was, to my son, and his son's probably like 14. He's like, we were fucking like, just yesterday we were watching these. Like, I can't believe that you were here. And I was like, I did that video like fucking 6 years ago. Like, you know, he's like, I seen that video. But like, you have all those people, and like some of the people, especially during COVID, like we get into these chat rooms with like, mate of mine, and then you'd have all these other guys come in, like friggin' Joseph Parker, and then Tyson Fury was in it, and like we're all sitting there like, and like, you know, the singer of the Feelers is in there, I'm going, what the fuck's going on here? And we're all just fucking smearing. I'm like, this is bizarre. But also, like you said, it was an untouchable product. I painted myself in a certain thing, but I wasn't trying to turn like that into something else. I was like, well, obviously I can, you know, create some form of entertainment. How do I, you know, pivot without pissing everyone off? Which, to be honest, I didn't end up realistically touching that audience. I didn't, you know, with going into streaming, but you know, I got an opportunity to because of that content and doing content for another streamer through a casino where they go, well, we'll give you half your losses back if you want to stream, because they know I've always been into gambling and punting, like big time.
Oh yeah.
To my benefit,
cut your teeth on the pokies.
Oh well, you know, I know my way around the brickies laptop.
Yeah, you do indeed, mate.
Yeah, I don't know why, but there just seems to be some kind of affinity with.
I don't know. You've definitely got some spectrum going on with those machines. I remember when we were kids and you'd be in the Albany pub just pulling out $900 like once every 2 weeks.
I don't know. You might have been there at the time where I won the jackpot there on Turtle Treasure, and I went there with
Turtle Treasure.
I was a sober driver that night, and I had like $10, and I was like, oh, I've only got $10. I'm not getting on the piss. I drove there, and I was like, fuck it, I'm putting it in the pokies, and the jackpot was like 996, and every machine was occupied. And I was just tapping away at 50 cents, and I just kept telling him, I was like, that jackpot's mine. I'm fucking, might as well just give it to me now. I fucking got it. And I just kept getting feature after feature. I got up to like $1,000, and then I won the jackpot.
Yeah.
And all the old boys were like, you can't be serious. How's he done that? And I was like, oh my God, I actually did win it. And then I got up to like $2,400 and then cashed out. And the guy behind the counter was like, I don't know if we've got enough to give.
Might have to go to the bank.
I think I gave someone like $60. I said, here's the money for the taxi home. I'm out here, boys. See you later.
See ya.
We know. But yeah, I don't know. I've always, that and punting, it's always been pretty lucky.
An affinity for it, eh?
Yeah, I don't know. I've always, been pretty lucky with that kind of stuff. Like, you know, I won 3 meat raffles at Albany Pub the other day as well.
What, recently?
Yeah, one sitting.
Oh, just beef curtains.
No, she wasn't there. But
she's retired.
No, I won 3 in a row, and I was like, oh. And then I saw it was what butcher it was from, and I was like, they shut like 3 weeks ago. For
Hope
good.
it was frozen.
I hope so too. Gave it to my parents in the end. But,
Yeah, enjoy. Thanks for letting me stay.
yeah. You might want to thaw that out. But anyway, So getting into the streaming side of things, and then kind of starting again doing that. But,
Before we move into this, just one last question on SPM and stuff. What scale did you get to with it? Like, what were your biggest views and all that sort of stuff?
I think like 50, 60 million on one.
Jeez.
It was on the drill pump one.
Oh, yeah.
That one was on Tosh.0 and Ridiculous.
And that's when you were doing the Legionnaire caps and all that stuff.
Yeah, that was on. Yeah, that was on Tosh.0. That's been on Tosh.0 once or twice. I was hoping to get a web redemption, which because I was a big fan of Tosh.0. They don't even ask you to use the clip; they just fucking use it, which I don't care anyway. It's not like I was going to be like, the other thing that I know one used or one or three used some of my videos for like some campaign against drinking, and like my grandma, it wasn't my grandma, my aunties and stuff saw it, and just because they've got no fucking idea. My parents hated it, and I
remember seeing that clip of you on the rock.
Yeah,
and then your mum and dad was staying with you at the time while they were building the house, and you're like sculling piss on the phone with the rock out the back garden.
Yeah, they were staying at my house. By the way,
Just
during COVID, which was try that when you're 30-something years old. Holy shit. Talk about brain damage.
To skull piss for a living.
Yeah, I know. Now, I think they got in deep shit for that too. They got Broadcasting Standards Authority fine or something.
It was bloody good. So basically, you gave up your health and your reputation for a number of years to entertain the world.
Yeah, it's just something that it also kind of, I wouldn't say it's spiraled out of control, but certainly I think people thought, when you meet people, and especially young people who don't seem to, obviously you don't want to sit here and bang on like an old boy saying, the younger generation, but, you sit there having dinner with someone and they're like, come in like, come on, let's go. And you're like, mate, I'm having dinner with my parents here or something. Like,
they don't know.
Time and a place. Like, I'm not going to be sculling friggin', and like, people always trying to get you to do stuff like a monkey type thing. But that's, you can't get angry because that's kind of what you created, like it's.
But you probably, you obviously didn't set out to do that.
No, but it's like that's just the double-edged sword of it. So that's the way it is. But that's some of the things that you end up like. I agreed to go to like a bachelor party down the other end of the country once, like stuff like that. I'm like, what am I doing?
And you did the Somerset scene.
Oh, that was good though. That was good apart from being spiked, but yeah. That was bad.
As soon as it went dark and you're just
oh mate, I was reading the inside of my own eyeballs. It was not good. But the Somerset's gig, I did that twice. That was fucking fun. And like,
where is it? It's in bumfuck.
No, it's just on the outskirts of Christchurch in Oxford. Okay. Yeah, it's not that. It's rural, but like it's not
not miles
Christchurch. Out. Everything's rural once you move that out of the city. But no, I did that. That was a good gig, but COVID kind of took that away for those guys. But that was that kind of stuff is like quite fun. And there was a few things that I wanted to get off the ground, but didn't quite. Thing like me and Joe Damon were going to do this thing which we're going to do this thing, and then like honestly, like he, I think COVID hit or whatever, but he ended up in COVID hitting it big time, and he's really back into his stand-up. But we were going to go into the streets and interview people in the streets on the nightlife. Yeah. And then, like, not long after that, like
everyone started.
It was, and I was like, oh, we've missed the boat. Like, fuck. Like, it's been done. It was being done in Australia and in everywhere. Like, all gas and no
dude
breaks.
With the dreads, in
there's Bread Gang or something like that.
Yeah, that's.
But like, honestly, like probably 8 months before that, we were going to go do that. And I was like, fuck, we've missed the boat.
Just missed it.
Like, but also the nightlife in Auckland is being killed.
That's also missed the boat.
Yeah, it's just been murdered by curfews and all sorts of shit. So that was a shame because that would have been quite funny because there's some absolute cretins out there. But
So obviously you were talking about trying to figure out how to pivot, and then this streaming opportunity came up. Where did that come from? Was that off the back of SPM?
Yeah, off the back of it, pretty much. But like I never streamed onto the SPM page or anything because of like they didn't follow me to see gambling. They followed me for those piss reviews and stuff like that. So although like I could have gone straight into a massive audience, I was like, I'm not doing that because I don't know. It just doesn't. I get fucked off when people do that.
When they totally change the content and you're like I'm not actually interested
if you're still doing the original content and doing that, like I didn't want to do that stuff anymore. Not just like for the obvious reasons, but I'd done it for like 3 years and I was like, I've pretty much done everything.
Yeah, you lost the love for it as well.
Yeah, it turned into, like it used to be fun and then I used to look forward to it. Then it turned into a bit of a chore. And, you know, the further and further you go down the rabbit hole with social media, the more, you know, shit, like you're just sick of dealing with, you know, negative people. So you're like, oh, well, I'll just drop that and start something else, which I did.
Did you have some pretty horrendous interactions off the back of that with like DMs and seeing people in the streets and whatnot?
Dude, I had this one where I shared a meme and I didn't know where the original picture was from. And it was like, it was during COVID and like everyone was like trying to get into Pack and Save all the time down in Griffith. And it was like, you couldn't swing a cat in there. It was fucked. The lines were, you know, it was shocking. And everyone would go at the same time and they'd all try and get the toilet paper. So anyway, the meme was like Pack and Save Glenfield right now. And it was a picture of a whole lot of people in like an airplane hangar. But apparently it was something from like Iraq or something. Like I didn't know that. I don't watch the news on anything, but they're all trying to get onto a plane or something like. I don't know. Anyway,
so it was deeply politically sort of.
Yeah, but it wasn't like anything about that. It was about Pack and Save. That obviously, you know, me being probably, you know, I mean, it's a meme anyway. I probably should have done some due diligence, but the reaction it got, like some social justice warrior, I guess you'd call it, in Auckland, who's for those people, like, you know, rights and I don't know if it was Iraq or around like. Excuse my ignorance, to be honest. I can't remember. But they should like fucking cancel this guy. He's a comedian. Got turn up to his shows because it says comedian, I think. Turn up to his shows and fucking like boo him and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, I'm not a comedian. Like I don't do stand up. But that's what they're trying to cancel. And then I just getting all these people threatening to kill me, kill my dogs, sending my address to me. Like telling me where I live. So I was like, how the fuck do they know where I live? Like, don't they know where I work?
I bet nobody fucking turned up.
No one turned up, but it didn't stop me from like going, okay.
Yeah.
But like, I'm talking like serious. I mean, like, I'm talking like probably like 700 or 800 because it was like not like exclusive to Kiwis. It was overseas.
Yeah.
So they were fucking going ballistic. So I had to turn everything onto private and shut everything down, delete my LinkedIn account, which had my place of work on it, delete everything I possibly could.
God.
And I was like, it's all right, I've deleted it. I'm still getting messages like a week. And I was like, I deleted it a week ago. You've only seen that guy's post now. The post isn't even there. But it was just shocking. And I was like, fuck me. You could have just messaged me to say, hey, I don't know if you realize this is, you know, what this is. You just, you know, probably deleted it's insensitive. Rather than going, fucking, you know, get him, you know? So that was probably when I was really fired up. I was so angry with that. Because like, I was just like, what a fucking douchebag. Like just literally just talk to me.
But I think it's calming down now, but we have just been through a long period where people just live to get outraged, especially on the internet.
They love
They love it. Anything they can tear somebody down about or say that's not appropriate or police it, they're all about it, you know?
Yeah, but the other thing is like people don't stop, like people get offended a bit or pissed off about stuff because someone else has brought it to their attention. It's like, if you didn't see that, you wouldn't even know and you could just go on with your life. Like, someone's gone, hey, look how fucking, does this fuck you up?
Does this make you angry?
Like, just, hey, if you see it, you don't like it, like, the worst you can do is ruin other people's days with it. Like, just fucking fuck it off. Like, get it out of here.
Totally.
But, dude, like, I got that with some of the stuff I did or some of the stuff I said, because half of those videos were like the stuff I used to say before. And I used to cut it was always off the top of my head, like whatever I said. But people will be like, oh, you know, like some of the stuff I look at the first start, there's words you're not even allowed to say on the internet anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, that's one of the best ones to say. I wish it didn't mean that. I wish it meant something.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite phrases.
I wish that meant something else so I could say that. Like, I don't associate it with that. I just want to say that word.
Sounds nice.
Yeah. It's just, that's bad. I should,
Yeah, fuck.
But that was bad. But that was also during like COVID and stuff, and people just went fucking crazy, man. Like
everybody was up to air anyway.
You just look at some of the stuff that was going on, even like the stuff that were, I'm not I don't want to go into any rabbit holes here, but like some of the stuff that like.
Are you talking vaccine?
Nah, not there. Just like, I saw something the other day, I fully forgot, like having a scan and everything. I was going somewhere and they still had their QR code up. And I was like, oh man, I forgot that. That's fucked. Like that was such a pain in the ass.
There were certainly ways around it.
Yeah.
I've been told.
Yeah. I bet I know from who as well.
Yeah. Friend of a friend.
Yeah. And Super.
Yeah. If we're going to talk vaccine, we should get him on here.
Yeah. Oh, we shouldn't. I can't be bothered. Yeah. Did I forget to mention I don't care?
Yeah. He's got a new one. I might tell you afterwards.
Yeah. But like just the stuff that happened in online. Just it was the best of times and it was the worst of times,
Real
like,
double-edged sword.
Some of the shit some of the funniest content and some of the most toxic shit went on. But yeah, that's okay when I started getting into streaming a bit more, which again, like, because my parents were forced to live with me, long story short, they were without a house during COVID because they were building a house, they sold their house, the house had to stop being built, and they were caught in no man's land, so they had to live with me during COVID. But I'm shut in my room doing streams, like, gambling online, and I come out and
your mum's like, "How's your game going, Matthew?"
Yeah. And I'm like, "Get out!
Fuck off, Mum!"
Yeah. Where's my ramen? Meatloaf. But like coming out, I was just started cleaning up like cash wise, and they'd be like, "You're only in there for 2.5 hours." I'm like, yeah, I had a good night. And they're like, they didn't understand the SPM. They thought it was just self-destructive behavior, and they certainly don't understand streaming or anything like that.
No.
And it's I just don't even. I was at their place the other day, and I was watching Tim Nacky, who owns that podcast business with me, and I'm pretty sure my parents have met him. And like, Dad's like, "Does this guy work with you?" And I was like, "Yeah." You've met him. I own a business with him. And then like 5 minutes later, he's like, "Do you know this guy?" And I was like, "You've asked me questions about him, like about his blackjack thing before. What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Is that Tim Nacky?" I'm like, oh, it's like, that's why I just don't tell them anything, because it's just like, they ask you questions, but I don't think they really want to know the answer. Not because they're being nefarious. They're just confused by everything when it comes to streaming. They're like,
totally.
What? I don't get it. Why do people watch this? It's like, you don't need to understand it, because we're not trying to get you to watch.
Don't worry about it.
Nearly 70 years old. Like, you've got no idea what's going on.
I'm
surprised you can even wipe your own ass.
Yeah. Randall can't.
I'll get him a B-day for his birthday.
No, because I think even us, maybe a bit older, we're sort of the older end of the generation who's just managed to grasp onto social media, podcasts, and all, and the power of it. Because obviously, when I sort of put this forward as an idea, everyone's like, "Why would you do a podcast for a business?"
Yeah.
Like, and trying to explain that and just the exposure that it gets you, builds your brand, all that sort of stuff, and they're like, "What?"
Oh, it's also like, I mean, if you have to go in and see a business or something, they go, "Oh, I know this guy."
Exactly.
But like any content you can put out there as a business is a step in the right direction, because there's just so many that aren't, because of like you say, like we're probably the very top end of like that first kind of tech generation.
Yeah.
And there's still guys I know that just, it's not by choice that they're ignorant of it. They just like, "Oh, I don't engage with it," or whatever. But anyone below us that's all they're soaking in.
We need to grab onto it, because they're going to overtake us so fast.
Yeah.
Because, we're sort of the last generation who grew up without internet for the first few years and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
you know
dial up and shit when you did get it.
Yeah, I know.
But
yeah. When every time your parents walk in and you just sat in front of a blank screen.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Yeah. Just powering down.
Yeah. You're trying to turn the volume off. Jesus. Oh, yeah. Why is there so many viruses
Dial
on the
up as
computer?
well. You'd load up a picture and, you'd be finished by the time it got to the
shoulder. Yeah. Keyboards glued to the table.
I used to have a cover.
Yeah. Oh.
Splash.
Yeah, splash proof.
Anyway,
okay.
moving on.
Yeah, we'll leave Heather out of this. But stop it.
So, going on from that, obviously, you got the opportunity, got into the streaming, which I don't fully understand either, to be honest. 'Cause I'm not really in that world. Is that how you make a living these days?
No, well,
you got several streams.
No,
of
well, I
revenue.
stopped. It wasn't until not long ago I stopped. Working, and then
What are you 2 years out?
Yeah, but I've kind of had bits and pieces doing odd jobs. Like people still try and hire me for random stuff as well, which again, most of the time I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just there's been a couple of men's mental health things I've done for free and stuff like that. But merch, still flog off merch from time to time. That was one of the other things, the SPM, where they did actually make a bit of money selling merch, and but also, I didn't want to be in the position where I'm doing a video just to sell something. It's just a kind of hollow existence. But I still do a lot of stuff like consulting and stuff in the gambling space as well.
Yeah,
which is a bit intermittent, but. Yeah, like I made enough money before I left work that I'd kind of, things would have to really go bad that I'm worried about going back to work.
Yeah,
especially with the the frequency of wins and stuff. I mean, I've poured a bit of money into that business now, and hopefully we should see some money coming out of it sooner rather than later. So
open the doors and get the wheels turning on.
But I'm certainly not in the mindset that I'm like worried about like. I quite like the idea of kind of going back and having having a job because, it seems to be a very common theme with especially other content creators and stuff. They're trying to stop work as soon as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Which I was kind of the opposite. It's like I'd rather work, but like a lot of them, they don't have a house, they don't have.
What did you?
Fucking
you
anything.
You had a few by the time you left work.
Yeah. I had two houses, but I've sold one as well. So it's just I've got the one property now because I'm saving up for the commercial. But like a lot of them, like they just because the casinos are always chasing everyone.
Yeah,
and like at the moment it's rife with real bad practice and a lot of illegal shit too. But the casinos are like, oh, do you know this person or that person? Can you help them get inside? Nah, like, I don't want to. I can help you, but like, not if you're gonna. Because the casinos, a lot of them, they're operated out of Malta.
So you're looking for good operators to be on it.
Yeah, if they want to stream and they're not, reliant on, me bankrolling them or something like that. But stuff like that, and I kind of help manage the team of streamers that are my thing, because streaming is also, as a streamer and seeing other streamers, they're the center of their own universe. You kind of have to be.
Yeah.
Like you're sitting there in a room talking to all these people, and you're the center of attention, and a lot of them are not the guys who are with me, but a lot of them are egocentric, they're always trying to find out what someone else has got, or seeing someone else's audience maybe and going, oh, they shouldn't have as much. I'm going to maybe disparage them on stream and stuff.
Okay.
And I'm going to slag them off to his followers so that they come and watch me, which that's not how it works, really.
You've got to add value to them and be better than them, and then they'll come
Well, you've got to be
right?
better than your last stream. That's what you got to be. You don't have to be better than them. You just have to be better than yourself. And just going, I need to be. If that person's got more viewers than me, and I think I'm better than them, then I'm not doing a good enough job.
Yeah.
And if you're more supportive of it, it's the same principle as taking money off people. If you're more supportive of other streamers, generally comes back. That's how it works. But a lot of them, they don't
rising tide and all that.
Yeah, they don't kind of think like that. There's enough people in the world for everyone to get enough views. It's not like there's a finite there's 2,000 people viewing.
Keep pumping them out every day.
There's people there's people there all the time. But it's a weird industry that's new, and so
it's a bit Wild West at the minute, eh?
It's Wild West, and also like you were doing stuff and we're making it up as we go along as far as new things to do in streaming. Like the other, like Kern, who's one of the biggest streamers and like for gambling in Australasia, he's always coming up with new competitions and things for people to win and stuff. And it's not around signing up to a casino. It's around like you have to watch the stream and you get to go on like a bingo card or, and you stuff like that. That's what a lot of it's about. So, but between me and the other guys, that's what we come up with a lot. Now, one of the things that was the offshoot of that was Tim came up with the idea of doing, X amount of followers. Every time, he gains new followers, he puts that amount of money on a blackjack hand.
Yeah.
And like that. It's a very similar thing. Very similar situation with SPM of like how trying to figure out an exit strategy. He's like, I don't know. When it was about 70,000, he was like, "Fuck, I don't know. This is
bad idea."
Because he doesn't really want to be famous at all. He's just happy to stream to his 1,000 people or whatever. Yeah. And he's he worked on the farm. He was in Canada when it started. He had to go back and work on the farm for a bit in Taranaki. But it's the same thing of like, holy shit, how do I get out of this now? Because this is like, I'm gonna end up losing a friggin' fortune at some point. And he ended up going to a casino that basically he's got a partnership with them, an open partnership, which is he's explained. But he's a lot of people, the same thing, all like, oh yeah, fucking pussy. He's like, oh well, that's the end of that. He wanted to manifest $1 million, then people are never happy, but then people aren't happy that he risks so much money, and you just can't keep everyone happy. So
that's it. You're going to get positive and negative as long as you've got eyes on you. If you're in that
the worst
space,
thing you can do is go through and read your critics and
I
used to do it. I used to go through every comment and reply to people and pick a fight with it. Like, fuck up, loser! I'll shit on your driveway. Like, just say shit like that. Like, and then like stuff that was funny enough to get other people to kind of attack them as well. And then I got to I'm like, what am I doing here? I'm wasting so much time and energy. And like, and now it's like you can tell when you kind of someone doesn't like you, they'll go to multiple platforms once they get kicked off one to try and antagonize you. And you just go, mate, let me know how much rent I owe you because I'm living rent free. In your head. And then you just really, really drive them nuts.
Yeah. So do you still enjoy it all? Like, obviously, leaving work must have been quite scary to put all your chips into it. And then, so do you now feel pressure when you stream to perform and make it better, or is it just something you still enjoy?
For the type of streaming I'm doing, I'm just maintaining it.
Yeah.
So, it's not something that I look at and I'm like, I want to be doing this in 4 or 5 years or whatever. That's why I look at stuff like the podcast studio and stuff that's a passive income.
Yeah.
Like once it's, it owes X amount, once I get that and I get my own, like I want to get a commercial property and stuff like that, once I get that, then you just got something rolling returns, in. And mate. I think something, I feel like there's probably something else in that space that I probably haven't recognised yet, maybe within, whether it be studio space. I think there's probably something else there that I might be able to dip my toes into. But yeah, there's certainly some things online that I've had a couple of things come my way that I'm, people are like, oh, would you want to invest in this and that? And it's like, I don't mind the idea. I just don't want to invest with you. Like,
great idea, not you.
Yeah. You seem like you've had a few too many blows to the head. People, some like, real strung out guys come up with some great ideas. I'm not going to steal your idea and I'm not going into business with you, but good luck.
Like, you're onto it. Just change your personality.
Just get off the gear.
Totally.
But I'm probably looking for something else a little bit. But
at the end of the day, though, as you've done so far, you just keep charging, you keep meeting new people, doing different things, and it opens doors for you, right?
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
It sounds like it's going pretty good, mate. Every time I try and get hold of you, you're either in Vegas or Aussie. So what's the story there, mate?
Well, the first Vegas trip was that first NRL last year, which everyone's like, Warriors aren't playing, why are you going? And I was like, I've never been to America. It's an excuse to go. And that was full blown, that trip. Like, oh man, like I did some, that was a very, very pretty short trip. It was like land maybe Wednesday, fly out Sunday maybe, or maybe fly.
That's intense.
You think that's intense? Then Tim got invited to Power Slap in UFC, and I got. He's like, well,
this was the Dana White.
Yeah,
stuff,
he's like,
right?
my manager needs to come or whatever, and so
you're the manager.
Yeah, the manager.
Yeah.
So I think I'm just a buffer between him and people who want a slice of his, because he's quite a nice guy, and he's like, I just need someone to come and make sure that. Yeah, hey, fuck off. He's not interested.
You're the enforcer.
yeah, the ugly muscle. So that was way worse. That was like fly in Friday, fly out Monday morning or something. That was brutal. Oh, I might be flying Thursday, fly out Sunday, maybe. Yeah, but that was like, flying Thursday night. I slept there from Thursday to Friday. Yeah, and it was just full blown the whole time.
Yeah.
That was in the middle of in summer, and it was like 44 degrees. Like
With
literally.
It does not sound pleasant.
It was, coming back from that one was hard. And then obviously I went to Australia a couple of times, and then going to Australia in a couple of months as well. But when I went to the NRL in Vegas this year, seasoned vet now, third time around.
Yeah.
Didn't overdo it. I spent 4 days in LA first. And then 4 days or 3 days in Vegas, which you don't want to spend more than 3 or 4 days in Vegas. Just
too much, just over it.
Yeah, you just don't need to do that to yourself. So, actually went out and did some stuff this time.
Rather than just bend.
Yeah,
just
I went with
bend.
Kern, and Kern's he's a bit more responsible. And he wanted to do, we went to the pawn shop, the gold and silver shop, and a few other things. He's big on gastronomy. Kern,
so you went out some nice feeds?
Yeah, apparently. So I was there.
I mean, has your palate come along at all?
Well, it's similar to something you'd see in a shipping yard. With toxic waste on it.
I just have like all these flashbacks to like heating hellas up in the microwave. I remember you made bolognese in the microwave once. I remember being in a party in Dairy Flat, and we just found shit in the freezer, put it in the deep fat fryer, and then you had your hands in the oil.
Yeah, that were those triangle things. I just pulled them straight out of the deep fryer. And I was like, oh, that's hot.
I was like, mate, they've been in there for like 3 seconds. You're going to burn your hand and eat something raw.
And I did one of those things. I didn't burn my hand. I don't know how. I didn't somehow burn. There's boiling hot water. Oil, and just went bloop. That was when we found bullet holes on the side of the house that time. I think
that was
someone was taking a shot at us. And fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah.
We had that coming.
That was the pirate beer night.
That was
Yeah. I think that was
if they still sell that.
That was one of the first times I saw you doing advanced sculling techniques.
Yeah.
Because you used to have that massive funnel that you'd basically...
Beatrice.
Yeah, take around
She's
everywhere.
a good girl. Yeah, I've still got a funnel somewhere.
Yeah. They were the dirty old days, eh? I mean, I wouldn't change the memories, but I won't go back to it either.
Tell you what, I would have drained the spa pool after that event.
Bit of silly string in there, mate.
Oh, no.
It was like, why wear a hot pools?
It was more like Christchurch liquefaction. Jerry Brownlee. Who shat in the field? I thought it was a toilet.
Was that shite?
It was one of you.
So, going back to the Vegas stuff,
Yeah.
Because you were real impressed with Power Slap, eh?
Yeah, again, like it's not like something I've come back and started watching, but the event was really cool, and there's a lot more rules to it than I gave it credit for. I just thought it was and it is two Neanderthals beating the living fucking shit out of each other, but
quite technical.
No, yeah. Well, I can't understand how they miss. Like a lot of times they miss. Like
they don't even crack it.
They like finger it, like they miss by like a fraction, or like. I'm like, wouldn't you just full palm them on the side of the head and fucking pop their eardrum? Like, wouldn't that's what you go for? I don't know. But yeah, they've got to hold their hands behind their back. The amount of times they get KO'd, it was And there were so many upsets in it. I was like, this is actually quite gnarly.
Yeah.
But what I found most interesting about it is there's two sides to the arena, the public, and then we were in this side with all these uber famous people, like, you know, anyone and everyone involved in streaming and gambling. You know, there's a lot of people that I could rattle off, but people probably wouldn't even know. Cowboy Cerrone was there.
Oh, yeah.
There's a couple of UFC people there.
Spoke to him on Instagram Live once. Lovely guy.
Yeah.
So I came home from work one day.
Let's carry on.
And Taito Ivasa Bam Bam had an Instagram Live on, and I was like, oh, fuck it, I just pressed join. And he answered, and I was like, oh, fuck. Like, hey, mate. And he was like, you're fucking boring. And then just puts me on the phone to Cowboy Cerrone. And I had a lovely chat with him, and then got given back to Taito Ivasa, and he just hangs up on me.
Well, yeah, he should have done that from the first place.
Good on him. I was like, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yeah, that's one of those things I kind of wanted to happen, and it happens. You're like, oh god, no, it happened.
Yeah. I didn't actually want to talk to him. Oh yeah, so it was full of the.
Oh yeah, there's all these.
So.
What's There's one guy who ended up. Sketch that he's a streamer, like all these like streamers.
You said all Nelk boys were there, and stuff as
Steve
well.
will do it, and all those. Oh, Steve will do it wasn't there, but his missus was there, but all the Nelk boys were there. But everyone, like all this events going on, and everyone's just networking.
Yeah,
and I'm sitting there watching it like a fucking pleb. I'm going,
can you guys be quiet?
No, like I'm sitting there like the only guy sitting down. There's rows of seats with everyone's name on them taped to their name, like that's your seat, and I'm sitting there watching it. And everyone around is just like trying to get something out of someone. I was like, this is like, God. It was like it's like throwing a friggin' chicken bone in a piranha friggin' tank, man. Yeah. Like, you know, when Sketch comes in at the time, he was a massive big time streamer. Like he still is, but you know, what's that other guy? iShow Speed's probably the big one.
Yeah.
He was out like as big as him.
Yeah.
Pretty much for a while, but then it felt, well, there's a few indiscretions, which didn't really matter. He got found that he was doing gay porn at one point, but, you know, happens to the best of us.
Yeah, good on him.
You and I, obviously.
Yeah, I know,
yeah. You spread your butt as Mike Honcho, as I recall.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah. But like everyone just swarms around him, and everyone swarms around this guy, and I'm just sitting here like watching this thing, like, what is this? Like it was just, it was
have been interesting.
It was the most soulless existence I've ever seen. I was like, fuck it.
Yeah, it's not all it's cracked up to be, right?
Oh yeah, like I'm only there to facilitate Tim, so I'm just there to help Tim. But someone spilled a drink on my lap, so it looked like I'd pissed my pants. So that's why I was
good cover for you for when you did.
Well, yeah, I had already pissed him, but no, that was the other guy Tim brought, who was an absolute liability.
Oh, you told me about this.
I've actually spoken about it a few times, so I'll give Rowdy a break. But Jesus Christ, the guy's just, you don't go up and touch OnlyFans models and say I love your content. That's just inappropriate, especially when you've got a friggin' 3/4 mongrel on your downstairs operation.
Yeah, no pants. It's the pattern on the pants.
Yeah, it's a pleat.
It's an optical illusion.
Yeah, but no, it's definitely an eye opener. Like, yeah, you got to be some kind of, I don't know whether a sociopath or lacking of something to want to be in that kind of atmosphere. Tim was a fish out of water. He was like, oh God, he's like, he can get along with anyone, you know, he's that kind of guy. But even afterwards, you're like, oh, let's go somewhere and just get shit faced. This is
this is horrible.
Yeah. That was. But I kind of, after going to Vegas earlier in the year, I kind of want to go. Like, two guys I know are there now, two other streamers from Australia. Yeah. And I'm like, I wouldn't mind going back. Yeah, just because the rugby and the footy's on. It's winter. It's not cold by any means. You know, most days are 25 degrees, 24 degrees. At night, it's fucking cold because it's the desert. Yeah. But it's not like cold. But if there's a wind on, it's really cold.
And are you having a punt while you're over there? Like, are you in
it's
the
worst. I am, but it's the worst place to gamble. Because their return to player on all their machines is all wound all the way down. So like,
oh really?
Yeah, like it's really hard to get a win. I think in Old Vegas, which is Fremont's like something you see. You know, it's all the Golden Nugget and all these like
the old school casinos.
Yeah, but like there's like Fremont Street's like kind of closed in, and they've got like zip lines that people were flying over your head, and that's where they held the NRL 360 show there this year. It's an awesome place. It's just like, if you've got epilepsy, you're just not for you. But you're just like, holy shit, this shit is like there's one place that's like got a bookies. It's the biggest jumbotron I've ever seen in my life. I think I put it on my Instagram story, but I don't know if I saved the photo. Like this thing is like we're on like 3 stories up, and it's like still that big, and inside it's just everything's in excess basically. And there's just chicks walking around with friggin' tits out and just crap everywhere. There's kids walking past them. It's fantastic.
More camel toes than a Lebanese shepherd.
Yeah, well,
that kind of game.
Don't get me started on the moose knuckles.
Yeah.
It's just, oh man. But the old Vegas is better return to player on the machines there, but still, it's not good. Yeah. Also, if you win over like $1,200 on a machine, it automatically locks out and they hand pay you and take 30% for tax. It's
just a reggae.
Yeah, that's why you're better off doing table games there. But even then, it's like it's supposed to be like the gambling mecca, but it is like you're better off going to Sky City, Auckland, or places in Australia
if you actually want to win. And
like even the pubs in Australia are better than the pubs in Australia. You bet $5, whereas here it's $2.50, and there's unlimited. You can win whatever you win there. You can win like $15,000, $18,000 Jackie at the pub there.
Yeah,
like individual to that machine, not the room jackpot. Like that machine can give you that. But in Vegas, it's a gimmick.
Yeah,
and people, it's for yuppies who go in.
Tourist
go in there. I've never seen a poker machine in their life, probably. And they're like, I'm doing what they do on the TVs, But there's just so much other stuff there. Which the more I've obviously gone a couple of times, the more you see, and you're like, man, like one thing we forgot to do last time was go to Heart Attack Grill, where like they like abuse the shit out of you and they beat you.
Oh
up.
yeah.
Which like Kern really wanted to go. I'm not sure whether because of the food or because of he's.
Wants to be dominated.
Well, yeah, but we went to a few places there that were just fun, and you can't every time I'm leaving, I'm like, oh fuck, we should have gone there, and
but you don't want to do it in a big trip. You want to do it in stints, right?
Yeah. I think next time I'll probably spend more time in LA. LA was also. Anyone who's been to LA knows it's just a friggin' cesspit. But they're a cool place to go. I went to one theme park, but the other theme park I wanted to do was shut. But I went to like some dive bars and stuff and just, getting in. And
I've never been to LA, but obviously I toured the States a few times back in the day with bands and it's friggin' awesome when you start getting into the underbelly of it. Old speakeasies. Just cool spots, and crazy shit that you see over there.
Oh, dude.
Because every state's like a different country.
I know. Well, I was supposed to go to Texas after this trip, but everyone who was going, they all pulled pin.
Yeah.
So I was pretty much got there by myself, and Kern he got there at X amount of time, and then he left before I left anyway. So there was times where I was just by myself. I was just walking around LA by myself quite a bit. Just checking shit out. There's so many homeless people, cracked out people. There's pharmacies everywhere as well, which is bizarre because they don't have free healthcare. But
well, there's only us in the US who can advertise pharmaceutical. God's eye.
Yeah, and we're not lunatics. So
we're not, obviously.
Gloriavale.
Yeah.
But like I wanted to go to Texas and go to like Austin and check all the comedy stuff out there.
The comedy mothership.
Yeah, I want to do all that, but like everyone was like pull pin, so I was like, oh well, I'll just have to do another trip at some point.
God damn it.
Yeah, how sad. I wouldn't mind going to Nashville as well.
Music
and maybe somewhere like Montana or something. I'm not sure what really there'd be to do.
Well, you're gonna go be a cowboy.
I am a cowboy, just not in the traditional sense.
I'm a certified cocksmith.
Yeah. I'm
qualified.
I believe that. It's definitely the first part of that sentence. But I don't know. It looks like it's pretty hard to tell whether America's in a great place at the moment, going off the news, but looks like it's going to hell in a handbasket.
I think it's in a transitional period. We just don't know what it's transitioning into.
Oh, well, careful there. You have to pick which toilet you go to.
It seems like the US is on hormone suppressors right now, so we'll see.
Controversial. Careful, mate.
Well, look, mate, it's great to see you doing really well, and it's been bloody awesome watching your journey over the last 15, 16 years. Coming from setting the bloody counter on fire at Snow Planet
that
together.
May have happened.
In front of a tour bus of Tahitian tourists.
I'm not sure, but I reckon setting something on fire, especially probably a 20-meter long bench, in front of tourists, is probably like a welcome to the country, or maybe a haka or something. Like that.
It was a ceremony. What wasn't a ceremony was when that 10-year-old boy really annoyed you. and you burnt his shoes outside the back door.
Oh,
Do you
that's
remember?
right. I said his shoe. Yeah, I did do that actually.
You told him to put them in the locker.
Yeah, put them in the locker
3
and then you
times.
kept trying to put them behind the counter, so I, covered them in mess and burnt them.
I had. Do you remember that?
I may have done that.
Allegedly.
I may have done that. That could have been.
Allegedly. Do you remember that Asian lady who came up and, ski boots, you've got to open them right up, jam your foot in, they're quite hard to get on.
Did you put them on inside? No.
No, she put them on inside, try them on. But I gave her like a size 5 to start with, little feet. And she's like, no, doesn't fit. So I go and like show her how. She's like, no, it doesn't fit. Anyway, then she comes back, have a size bigger. Yep, okay. Give her a size bigger. This went all the way up to size 15.
Yeah.
Where she's still got the clasps shut and she just put her feet in. You remember? And then she went out on the snow, magic carpet, hit the side of it and just flew out of the boots. Just bare feet. What the hell are you doing wearing rental boots and bare feet anyway?
Well, she's caught something.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to say, I do remember that, the one where it happened more than once. People either got the snowboard or the skis and they put them on inside the building and then tried to get the door open. The door's a pull door and they're just fucking pulling the pull door into their skis. And you just sit there going, yep.
Yeah.
I'm just going to watch it for a bit. Or they come inside with them on.
Yeah.
They'll go through the turnstile, go, like this. You go, what are you, fucking pillock?
People just lose because it's something different.
It's the same as when you put people in an airport.
Yeah.
It's like they just lose all, you're like, ooh, I'm just going to stand in the friggin' throughway or right in the middle of the thoroughfare, like, oh. Like,
I know.
It's like friggin' watching a friggin' stunned fish. What about the girl who, I don't know if whatever happened to her, but the girl who flew down and double ejected and her head hit the glass, and it was bulletproof glass, and her head cracked both sheets. And
she fractured her skull, broke her jaw.
Yeah, she fucked herself up.
Well,
I was doing first aid on her.
Yeah.
And she just kept, she's doing that loop memory, which has happened a few times. That guy, the Harvey Norman guys.
Yeah.
Remember that guy? That was bad too. He fucking decided to take on the kicker on skis. This guy's never skied before. Just fully poleaxed himself. And he was the same. He goes, oh. Look, he's like wearing the gear, covered in snow, pissing blood. He'd be like, "All right, we're going out for a ski." I'm like, "Dude, you've already been for a ski, and you flew and
trust me, you're no good at
it." And they'd flown in from like Harvey Norman, Australia, or something. I hope somehow this guy sees this. He'd be like, "I've still got memory problems." I fucking bet you do.
And at the time as well, we were like, we're rental managers. We're on $14 an hour. We're killing it. So, we were quite happy to dig blood out of the snow for 2 hours and do first aid on people. You were on TV as well when we were at Snow Planet, eh? Didn't you have to tackle somebody or something?
Oh, yeah. There's a couple of things. Also, Bam Margera.
Yeah.
Me and Melissa had to do first aid on Bam Margera.
He was wasted.
Because he fell over in the car park.
Yeah.
He was a fucking prick. He was such a dickhead. He was so shit-faced. He was trying to say his drink got spiked. He'd flown it from Wellington or something. Yeah. And he had a Bloody Mary. And he got out of this car and he fell over in the car park and cracked his head open. Someone spiked me. He was supposed to go out in the snow and try and have a crack on a snowboard, and they were like, "There's no way,
not happening, brother."
And he sat in that chair, like they had that MTV chair or something in the. Bro, that was cooked. Everyone was so excited to meet him, and then after about 15 minutes, everyone's like, "What a loser!
Get this guy out of here!" Because he was at his depths of just being on the bend.
He was just It
was kind of after Viva La Bam and stuff like that.
Yeah. It was Jackass 3D. What he was promoting.
Okay,
that's what he was promoting.
Yeah,
but that was like. Talk about never meet your hero. Well, not that he was a hero of mine at all. But you're like,
just how different they are in person.
Fuck me, this guy's a mess. And he stunk.
Yeah. We didn't wash.
No, unhygienic.
Yeah, unkempt.
Yeah, yes.
But sweet, man. Well, I think we'll wrap it up. What's so obviously working on the podcast studio. Where can people watch your streams?
Just on Facebook on Degen Bets. Yeah,
Degen Bets, Degen.
Yeah, or any Kick or Twitch or YouTube, Matt Jordan SPM, one word. But yeah, if you're not into gambling, don't watch it. You'll probably find it pretty boring. But
I'm sure there's a few punters out there, mate.
yeah, I think most of the gags are going over people's heads anyway. Just random references to movies that no one's seen.
That's always been the way.
Yeah, it was like, the fuck, is this guy autistic?
Yeah. Just Johan commenting from Canada, eh?
Yeah. Hey man, I got a new pair of glasses.
Yeah. Mil spec.
I can now
I can teleport now. Eh?
Inside jokes, apologies.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel like you've underachieved in your life, or
Absolutely, mate.
yeah? Okay, cool. That's pretty much all we've got for Alex today.
Yeah. Thanks for the interview, mate.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, no, it's good, mate. I'll send you an invoice.
Yep, sweet as. Hang on. We just spent 2 hours talking about how you don't bloody charge.
Well, no, I don't charge people. I
like.
think there's a future.
Nah, bloody good, mate.
Good on you,
Thanks
mate.
for coming on.
Yeah.
Cheers.